Good day, everyone. We are the Group 8 assigned to report the topic entitled Severe and Multiple Disabilities. We have also provided the topic objectives, which are enable students to determine what is severe and multiple disabilities, its characteristics, and how teachers will deal in response to these learners. So now, let me formally proceed to the topic's introduction. People with severe disabilities are those who traditionally have been labeled as having severe or profound mental retardation. These people require ongoing extensive support in more than one major life activity in order to participate in integrated community settings and enjoy the quality of life available to people with fewer or none disabilities. They frequently have additional disabilities, including movement difficulties, sensory losses, and behavior problems. Or for example, someone have been diagnosed of sensory or motor disabilities, or maybe developmental, emotional, visual impairment disabilities. Moreover, the U.S. federal government defines those who have more than one impairment, the combination of which causes such severe education needs that they cannot be accommodated in special education programs solely for one impairment. That's everything for the introduction. The next reporter will provide and tackle the next part of the topic.
In relation to the topic that was discussed by Ms. Caballo, I, Liana Shinigar, will be discussing about the characteristics of individuals with severe or multiple disability. So, people with severe or multiple disabilities may exhibit a wide range of characteristics. It depends on how severe the disability of a person has, especially at his or her age. Listed in the PowerPoint presentation are some of the characteristics of a person with disability. The first characteristic of a person with disability is the speech impairment. Having these characteristics allows someone to engage only in limited speech or communication. The speech impairment is a communication disorder such as stuttering, impaired articulation, a language impairment, or a voice impairment that adversely affects a person's developmental growth. The next characteristic is the difficulty in basic physical mobility. This means that the physical capacity to move, coordinate actions, or perform physical activities is significantly limited, impaired, or delayed and is exhibited by difficulties in one or more of the tasks. The next characteristic is the tendency to forget skills through disuse. Having this characteristic allows some people with disability to learn more slowly than any other people. These learning deficiencies generally apply to many kinds of learning and across different developmental stages. A person with this characteristic often have trouble in keeping up with other individuals. So, the fourth characteristic is the trouble generalizing skills from one situation to another. At this point, some of the people with disability has deficiency in general intellectual functioning such as reasoning, planning, judgment, abstract thinking, academic learning, and experiential learning. A person with this type of disability often has difficulty with adaptive skills or tasks of daily living that typically any other individual do not experience. Due to the physical impairment a person with disability possesses, he or she becomes independent and needs a support in major life activities and even with his or her daily tasks.
I am Angeline Olazo speaking at this moment. So with the topic Learners with Severe and Multiple Disabilities, I am to report on how teachers deal with these learners. So we all know that learners with disabilities or multiple disabilities really vary in how they move and how they learn, on their weaknesses, their strength. And of course, as a teacher, as a parent, we need to give our full support and guidance for them to be able to feel that they're still worth it despite of their differences. So the first thing off that the teachers must do in order to deal with these learners is know thy needs, play to the strength. So of course, this kind of learners need has different needs in terms of energy, support, the kind of learning process. So as a teacher, knowing these needs would be able for us to motivate ourselves or to play to the strength that we know that is worth it in order to find the learning process more accommodating and interesting to every student with disabilities. So the second one is make modifications. So when we say modifications, a change in a sense that these kinds of student would be able to still accommodate and to access even to the normal students that they knew. So it is not a change that would be hard for them to cope up with, but a change that would be easy for them to know that the learning is improving, there is a development in their learning process. So the third one is allow partial participation as necessary. So when we say partial participation, it means that student that with disability is not excluded to every activities inside the school community. So he or she is able, will be able to insert him or herself to every activities in the school, because once the teacher ignore or neglect that kind of student, they may feel that they're not part of the group, they're not that worth it, they're not capable to do something just like normal students did. So as a teacher, we need to encourage them, or we must let them to give the opportunity to engage to other students and to every activities inside the school, because in this way they may feel that they were accepted, and of course they will be able to realize that they are capable despite of their differences. So the next one is consider assistive technology. So when we say assistive technology, this includes computer that would assist every teacher in the in promulgating or providing the necessary information in the learning process of the child. Because as a teacher, it is not just our own knowledge that would help them grow, but of course, we must also consider the emerging power of technologies, because this power could really bring our students, especially those disabilities, into an interesting part of their learning. So we must also consider the emerging power of this technology, just like computers or to any other technology that we have considered as one of the essential things that we need in the learning process of every child. So the next one is we have to consider this question: does the student need textbooks in another format? Because we must not just only consider the books as one of the instructional materials that would provide information to the student, especially those with disabilities, because we have to consider information in another format. Like we should think on a certain strategies in a creative way in order to get the whole attention of the child, in order for them to feel that we teachers have made so much effort for them to realize that they are worth of that kind of learning process. So that's it for my part, and to the next part will be Miss Trisha Ila Sumailo. Thank you for listening. God bless.
Good day, everyone. I am Trisha Ella Sumailo speaking this moment. So I'll be the one to continue the discussion of Miss Olaso about how teachers deal with these learners. In addition, teachers should practice and reinforce. Does your student's disabilities affect his or her intellectual functioning? If so, he or she will be slower to learn new things and will have difficulty applying that learning in a new situation. Be concrete. Give lots of hands on opportunities for learning and practice. Give feedback immediately. And also repeat the learning task in a different setting. Next, support related services in the classroom. Support related services in the classroom, depending on the student's disability. He or she may need related services to benefit from special education. Related services may include speech language therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, or orientation and mobility services. It is best to practice to provide these services in the classroom during the natural routine of the school, although some may be provided in other settings. Address behavior issues. Behavior can be affected by having disabilities, especially a combination of disabilities. The student's behavior is affecting his or her learning or the learning of the others. IDEA requires that behavior be addressed in the IEP. Encourage the student's independence. It is natural to want to help a student who's struggling to do a task single handedly, especially when you know there's a disability involved. But it's important for the child to develop the skills it takes to live as independently as possible, now and in the future. When the time comes, support transition planning. IDEA requires that IEP teams and students plan ahead for the student's transition from school to the adult world. There's a lot to know about transition planning. When the time comes for the student to begin planning, have a look in a transition. That would be all. Thank you.